What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I thought I would do a fun, different kind of video for you guys and talk about how I'm actually a really big fan of how Marvel is handling their games. Now, this is, I guess, and I'm going to be flat out honest, this is kind of removing myself from Marvel's Avengers, or removing it, I should say, from the equation. And that, you know what, though, that honestly plays a big role. Now, number one, people are going to like and dislike whatever they want, right? I'm not here to tell you that you have to agree with me or that you have to like every game or have to disagree with me on every game. You do you, okay? That's going to be the motto in this video. But removing ourselves even from that, I like the experiments that Marvel is doing with these games. I will say my opinion, I don't think Marvel's Avengers worked. I don't think it worked in reception. I don't think it worked in long-term player base or growth or kind of sticking around for a long time. I don't think any of that stuff actually worked for the game. Did some people like it? Yes. Did some people not like it? Yes. Okay? I think that's what you can say for that game. Spider-Man obviously has been a big hit. I mean, kind of all across the board. It sells like no other. It pushes PlayStation consoles like really no other PlayStation game. Even games that I think are honestly better than Spider-Man, those games can't push it as well as Spider-Man does, right? You have Guardians of the Galaxy, which tough to talk about, but again, you don't really need to talk about the quality of these games for the kind of, what I'm trying to nail home. Guardians of the Galaxy obviously coming out at the end of October, and then you have right now Marvel's Midnight Suns, right? So again, the theme here is diversity. Diversity in the way that they're just kind of throwing them out there and seeing what happens. Now, what I will say is there is a fine line between kind of what I just said and I guess like, expanding on it. So like, if you are Marvel and you just give a game out to any developer that asks for it and 50-50. Some of them are good, some of them are horrible, right? And you just kind of go with that. I don't exactly think that's the greatest premise for how you handle your licenses, right? However, I do like the idea of diversity in this way in the first place. You know what I mean? The fact of just, okay, let's try some different things. And I will say, they aren't just handing them out like they're a flyer. Like a developer walks by like a booth and they just say, hey, here's the flyer, fill it out, and there's your Marvel game, right? That's not exactly, and in fact, that's not at all how they're doing it. They are picking. And you are sometimes going to pick some really good ones, and you are going to pick some not great ones. Again, I think like factually, statistically, whatever you want to say, like, the Insomniac thing worked out. I mean, that was a perfect, it was a match made in heaven, and they nailed Spider-Man, and they still are nailing it, and I really see no reason to not trust them, going on in the, now, can they make too many? Can it be a problem of like too many Spider-Man games? That's definitely a possibility in the future, but in terms of, what they've done so far, that was perfect. Guardians, and the studio that's working on it seems like a pretty good match. Now, again, the game's not out yet, so we can't really judge it, but I like the fact that they're trying, and as I've said before, Guardians is different than Avengers. Avengers is different than Spider-Man. Spider-Man is different than Midnight Suns. Now we get to add Midnight Suns to that, right? We don't have a huge group of games to kind of go through. We only have those 4, I guess Miles, right, makes it 5, but it's a solid group. Now, again, like if Guardians comes out and it's bad, right? Can you say, let's just say, again, let's not get offended here, leave the dislike and then just, kind of hear me out here, right? Say Guardians is bad and Avengers is bad. Well, you have those two, and then you have Spider-Man and you have Miles Morales that are good, and technically those are kind of almost the same game, right? So it's like we have 2 versus 2. Midnight Suns is like the tiebreaker. I actually have quite a bit of confidence, and I've always been pretty darn confident in Midnight Suns, even when I thought it was literally just an XCOM game with Marvel characters. I would have taken that. I would have been completely fine with that. Turns out it's kind of that, but it's also mainly different than that, which is, again, completely fine. I have a lot of faith in it. But again, the point is they're trying. They're trying different things. It's honestly even like the strategy that Star Wars took back in the kind of like mid 2000s, where they literally just let, now that was a little bit, that's more what I was talking about with like 50-50. I don't know if that's the best strategy in the world, although thinking back, I really wouldn't mind that strategy at all. Just handing them out like they're hotcakes, and you're going to get some really cool ones, right? Like Republic Commando or Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which I thought was actually a really great one, or obviously like the Battlefront games, and there's more. Force Unleashed was fantastic. But then you're also going to have bad ones. Like there's going to be bad ones that come with that, and if it's 50-50, if it's 60-40, is that a good strategy? Honestly, I would kind of take that. Oh, and I've always kind of held that thought with Star Wars versus just having like EA, just one publisher. They are in control. They've made only a handful of games, right? Battlefront 1, 2, Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order. I think they've made 4. I hope I'm not forgetting one, but, very limited. For a while, it was only Battlefront 1 and 2, you know what I mean? So, like, I would take the toss-ups, you know what I mean? I would have, like, Avengers, I'll take it. I'll take a game like that. Is it the Avengers game I want? No. Is it the Avengers game that I think they wanted to see populated and to see like mass success? I don't think that ended up happening, but it's different. It definitely is different. Is it too close to other live service games? Again, you get to the nitpicking, you get to like reviewing the game and criticizing it or complimenting it, and that's completely up to you, but it is what it is. And it's not the same thing as Guardians. Guardians, maybe would have been kind of pitched or like I guess on initial glance may look a little bit like Avengers, but really we all know, right? It's not. It is completely different. And you're not going to get confused from Guardians to Avengers. You're not going to get confused with Avengers and Spider-Man or Guardians and Spider-Man. And there's no way you're going to get confused with Midnight Suns versus any of the other games we've already said, right? Because that game is just so different as well. So I like it. I like it. They haven't had mass success. There's always going to be the war of like Marvel versus DC. I'm not going to go there. There's the war in the movies. There's the war in like pop culture. There's the war in the games. And again, I'm not saying the strategy they've taken has been like massively successful, because right now you have the slam dunk, like factual success that was Spider-Man 1 and 2. And then I would say pretty factually, you have the flat out disappointment in sales and player base and all that, which has been backed up by, them talking about revenue, and you can see to an extent the player base of Avengers. Like, it's not all perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm not saying it's all terrible either, right? I like it. I like the idea that they're trying different things. And again, that's not always going to work. In some ways, I want them to actually pick up the pace. I don't want to have that come off too far one way or the other, right? Because some people are going to say, oh, you want them to rush it. You want like 6 games a year. Did I say that? No, shut up. What I'm saying is I actually like what they're doing. They're coming out relatively consistently, right? We have Guardians in like a month and a half, 2 months. You have Midnight Suns in March. You probably have Spider-Man 2. Probably not next fall, but maybe a little bit after that, but it could be next fall. Insomniac makes games very quickly. So, you have a constant cycle, and there's going to be more after that. So I'm happy with it. It does give me a vibe of Star Wars, of that Star Wars era. And not everything that comes out of the era, like when we're looking back at this 10, 15 years, you're not going to be able to say every game was awesome or this was like a perfect strategy where every single game came out amazing. No, you're going to get some failures. Maybe you'll get games that didn't sell well but were like really, really good, right? Or you'll get games that just were not fun at all or just weren't your kind of thing. But that's the other thing as well, right? It's not even just the quality, like the review scores, if people even care about that, right? Which I don't think you should, but review scores or how much people actually cared about it once they played it, but also just they are all different. You do have a live service e-game. I think a game that was kind of afraid to go all the way, but it's not, I'm not going to go too far into it, but Avengers, right, being a more live servicey thing. You have Spider-Man being more of that, Batman Arkham kind of thing, which has worked really well. You have Guardians being kind of a mix of several different genres of games, right? You got like the Telltale, you have like you choose your own adventure with decisions, but you're only playing as one guy, but you kind of control your teammates, not fully though, but like in some ways. So you have that, and then you have Midnight Suns, which is kind of like Persona cross XCOM for Marvel, right? Which actually, when you say it like that, just gets me very, very excited. So you have a lot of different stuff going on. And imagine I don't think they could do like a first-person shooter, although maybe they can find a way. But there's just different things they can do, and I do like it. Not everything has worked for me. I'm not going to say I've liked everything, and again, everything really at this point is only 3 games, but I like how they're doing it. I really do. I think it is probably the best strategy for success. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to support me in any of my other places that I'm at, I have a Twitter, I have a second YouTube channel. We also have Patreon and YouTube memberships if you guys want to support us there. All the links are in the description below, okay? Thank you for watching, guys. I hope to see you all on the next video.